Hello, this is Ide Ho from Chungshim International Academy. Today we will be having a conversation about insights to animal welfare and career advice. Today we have Dr. Clayton, currently a veterinarian in Stanton Veterinary Clinic, and expertise both in small and large animals. Dr. Clayton received her Bachelor's of Science degree from William and Mary, and she graduated from Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine in 1999. She then completed postgraduate year in veterinary medicine at Oklahoma State University Veterinary School, followed by a 16-month equine internship at Blue Ridge Equine Clinic in Charlottesville, Virginia. Thank you for attending the interview today. We will start the interview with the first question. What inspired you to pursue a career in veterinary, and how did you get started in the field?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think that what inspired me was growing up on a horse farm. And I'm not sure if I had told you, but the farm where I live now is actually the farm that I grew up on when I was a little girl. And it was a farm that was actually originally my grandfather's farm. So this is now the third generation of a family on the farm. But when I was a little girl, we raised horses. And I loved being part of their care. And one of my favorite things was when the veterinarian would come out to the farm to take care of them, whether it was their regular routine wellness vaccinations and deworming and things like that, or whether it was on an emergency. Of course, the emergencies were always very exciting, although sometimes, worrisome, depending on what was going on. So I very much loved being part of animal care since I was a little girl. And as I studied through school, I became more and more interested in making my career with that every day. And that's how I decided to essentially go to veterinary school after my Bachelor's of Science degree. I went on to vet. I applied and went to vet school. As far as academically, it's very important to be very interested and to enjoy science and math. As far as being able to be competitive to apply to vet school in the U.S., you have to have very strong grades in your biology and chemistry and physics and math coursework. As far as skills, I think that veterinary schools very much in the U.S. want you to have hands-on animal experience. So there's lots of different types of animals that people can work with. You can be a large animal veterinarian where you're working with cattle and horses and sheep and goats. You can be a small animal veterinarian where you work with dogs and cats. You can be an exotic veterinarian or avian veterinarian where you work with animals that are wildlife or birds, or they call them pocket pets, which is like your hamster, guinea pig. So there's lots of different parts of medicine and veterinary medicine. But I think the more hands-on experience you have in whatever area you're interested in, the better. Because you have 4-H in Korea.
4-H.
Does that? Okay. There's an organization in the U.S. called 4-H, and it's for youth, students, and a lot of it is animal oriented. Although there's other things in 4-H also, but a lot of it is animal. And so a lot of kids that are interested in veterinary medicine or just interested in farming or agriculture will be part of 4-H clubs. And the 4-H clubs teach kids about animals. And so that's another way that here in the U.S., a lot of kids get a lot of experience, especially if maybe they don't necessarily live on a farm. They're able to learn that way. And that was another part of what I did growing up.
And the next question is, what are some common misconceptions about working in animal welfare, and how would you address them?
Oh, good question. Ooh, so in the U.S., I think sometimes people think that it's always fun working with animals, and it is fun a lot. But a lot of times, it can also be sad, and it can also, it always is a lot of hours of work. And so I think sometimes the misconception is that, or maybe just with people who aren't familiar enough with the profession, is that it's all about seeing new puppies and new kittens and all happy, and a lot of it is that, but there's also some very low moments that are hard, and I think people forget that and they discount that part of it, and it's a big part of it. You see these animals. There's animals that I first met as puppies, and I watched them grow old, and they become 15 years later they're a senior geriatric pet, because I only do small animals now. There was a time where I did everything, but now I'm only doing small animals. And so I watched that dog or that cat grow old in front of me, and so it can be a very emotional journey for me and for the owners, because we've been through all the highs and the lows together through that animal's life. And I think that's maybe one of the hardest things. I tell you what, though, I love being a veterinarian. There's so many more good things than bad things. Sometimes you have hard days, mainly because of patients not doing well, or like I said, saying goodbye to beloved patients. You make great friendships with the owners, over the years, and I've loved everything about it. There's some days where I feel more tired than other days. Our clinic is very busy, and lately I think I've been feeling really tired. But I love it when I have the chance to talk to somebody young who's excited, like you, who's excited, because it reminds me all the good things. There's so many good things. And I wouldn't change it. I truly wouldn't change it for anything. Okay, well, definitely in the U.S., there's not enough veterinarians. I can't remember the exact numbers. It's short on both sides. And so that makes your days longer and harder, because you're seeing so many more patients than you used to see, because you don't have enough veterinarians. The other thing, I read an interesting little quote or statistic, I should say, that said that the number of animals after the pandemic has gone up so high, because nobody could go anywhere. Everybody got animals, which was wonderful. But it meant, but we didn't have the same number of veterinarians to meet that need. And so your veterinarian still has to, see all the patients they had before plus all the new patients. So there's way more patients per veterinarian than there used to be. And so I think that's a challenge. I also think that what we were speaking of before, some of the financial challenges for veterinarians is something that our organization in the U.S. called the AVMA, which is American Veterinary Medical Association, are trying to address. They're working hard to figure out ways how to do some loan forgiveness, or like have you work potentially in underrepresented areas of the U.S., and that would qualify to pay off some of your loans. So, they're trying to do some things like that to help take some of the stress off of, the veterinary industry. So that is one thing that I think the veterinary profession has that's good, is that I really don't think that you're replaceable. Because your patients cannot talk to you. So you cannot just punch in answers to questions on a computer screen and get a diagnosis. You've got to use your hands, you've got to listen with your stethoscope, you've got to look with your eyes and smell with your nose and touch and feel and move their legs. You've got to actually put your hands on patients. Human medicine is becoming very hands-off, if you will. There's so much testing and so many things that it's almost, I'm a little biased, but it's almost becoming very hands-off, which I think is maybe not all good. You know what I mean? I mean, just because we have a saying in veterinary medicine that says, treat the animal, not the test result, right? So you can have test results that are not quite normal, but don't go completely off of that. You got to use it as part of the picture, like part of the whole story, part of a piece of the puzzle. You can't put everything into just this test result that came up on your computer machine and not look at your patient. And I think unfortunately human medicine is going that way a little more. But veterinary medicine cannot go that way because our patients can't tell us what hurts. They can't tell us why they feel bad. They can't tell us why they won't eat their breakfast anymore, or why they just want to lay around. They can't talk to us. So I think that we have to have a little bit of a sixth sense about. I don't think we're going to be replaced, and that's actually a good thing. It's job security, which is good. But it's also why we're all working working like crazy people, because there's not enough of us to do the job.
All right, let's finalize the interview. Even though from your perspective this interview might have looked like a 12-minute interview, this was indeed a pretty lengthy interview. So I think my shortening process unfortunately wasn't able to cover everything Dr. Clayton has mentioned in this interview. She also talked about how veterinarian is such a male-dominated profession, and her overcoming of that stereotype, also the challenges she personally faced. She also gave a great explanation of other veterinary job opportunities, which she highlighted CDC and PPE veterinarians. Other than that, I tried my best to organize this interview to fulfill anyone's curiosity who has the interest in being a veterinarian one day. I would like to thank Dr. Clayton again for being so welcoming about the idea about the interview and answering my questions so sincerely and truthfully. Now I will finish the video, and thanks for watching the video.